African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation on the 2nd of May, 2024. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct a special military operation. Units of the North Group of Forces have improved their tactical position. The manpower and equipment of the mechanized, airborne assault brigades and assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Pisarevka, Alexeivka, Unikovka, Andriivka, and Varakino in the Sumy region. In the Kharkov direction, units of the Motorized Infantry Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the Territorial Defense Brigade were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Ogortsovo, Gadish, Melov, and Volchansk in the Kharkov region. That the Ukrainian Armed Forces lost over 175 servicemen, a tank, 3 combat armored vehicles, 9 cars, 8 artillery pieces, a Croatian-made RAK-SA-12 multiple launch rocket system launcher, and an Israeli-made Rada RPS-42 radar station. 2 counterbattery stations for ammunition and material depots were destroyed. Units of the West Group of Forces improved the situation along the front line. Defeat was inflicted on formations of 3 mechanized brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements of Shredny, Shendrigolovo of the Donetsk People's Republic, Kupiansk, Osinovo, Blagodatovka, Bogoslavka, and Petropavlovka of the Kharkiv region. That the enemy's losses amounted to more than 230 servicemen, 12 vehicles, 3 field artillery guns, and a Croatian-made RAK-SA-12 multiple launch rocket system launcher. 5 electronic warfare stations and 3 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the Southern Group of Forces occupied more advantageous lines and positions. The manpower and equipment of 2 mechanized assault brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces and 2 territorial defense brigades were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Konstantinovka, Klebenbyk, Ivanpoli, Pleshchievka, Serebryanka, Seversk, Zvanovka, Shey-Savyar, Alexandro Sheltino, and Sherbanovka of the Donetsk People's Republic. That the enemy lost up to 155 servicemen, a Spartan armored personnel carrier made in the UK, 2 HMMWV armored vehicles, and a Max Pro armored vehicle made in the USA. 3 Western-made artillery pieces, a vehicle, 2 electronic warfare stations for ammunition and supply depots were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of Forces actively liberated the settlement of Novokranka in the Donetsk People's Republic. Defeat was inflicted on formations of 3 mechanized and airborne brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, a Marine Brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements of Dmitrov, Krasnoarmysk, Shinashino, Artemovka, Muravka, Udaknoy, and Petrovskoye in the Donetsk People's Republic. That the losses of the Ukrainian Armed Forces amounted to 425 servicemen, 3 combat armored vehicles, 4 cars, and 5 field artillery pieces. Units of the East Troop Group continued to advance deep into the enemy's defense and liberated the settlement of Temirovka in the Zaporizhia region. Damage inflicted on personnel and equipment of a mechanized brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 territorial defense brigades, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Cheriv in Zaporizhia region, Novopetrovskoye, Yanvarsko, Malievka in Dnipropetrovsk region, Alexandrogorod, and Novokatkoye in the Donetsk People's Republic. That the Armed Forces of Ukraine lost more than 200 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, and 14 cars. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted damage on formations of a mechanized brigade and a coastal defense brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Lukyanovskoye in Zaporizhia region, Antonovka, Sadovo in Kherson region, and the city of Kherson. That the enemy lost over 70 servicemen, 2 vehicles, and 5 electronic warfare stations. 3 ammunition depots and 3 supply depots were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the armed forces of the Russian Federation troop groups inflicted damage on the infrastructure of a military airfield, a production workshop, and a training center for UAV operators, temporary deployment points of Ukrainian formations and foreign mercenaries in 142 areas. Air defense means shot down a long-range guided missile Neptune and 236 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 664 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 73,389 unmanned aerial vehicles, 624 surface-to-air missile systems, 24,375 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,583 multiple launch rocket system vehicles, 27,948 field artillery and mortars, 38,855 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.